Hey guys, this is Chef Melissa Rivera and Chef Moses. Welcome to Green Talk Live and More 2019. How you doing? How you feeling? Hope all is well. We were gonna go live, but because Spreaker is having issues, tech issues, this podcast is gonna be on YouTube and then it'll be on Spreaker during the course of the week, and I'll upload it and everybody will get it. In the interim, hope all is well. And the title of our show, drum please, is Land Usage in New York City and Its Politics.
Boy, and its politics.
Well, to start it off, and this was surprising to me.
But not to, she's just saying that.
Now, NYC, CGC, is an advocate group for community gardens and urban farms throughout New York City. And their negotiations with Green Thumb Parks for the new lease. And it's been a year since the other lease expired. And there's a lot of politics, a lot of stuff that went on that shouldn't have went on. And it's politics, and time is being wasted, unfortunately, to the point where the urban green movement is stagnant in New York City as far as the food movement is concerned because of this. Green Thumb Parks was very known for over 600 gardens in their network for 30 years, and now they're down to 353. Roughly over 200
and change. When we first got into the network, they were about over 600 gardens.
Yep. And that was over 10 years ago.
No, that was over 13 years ago.
Right.
So there's been a lot of change, and there's a reason why there's been a lot of change. I'm sitting here now, and we've been talking about this. Believe it or not, I just had an epiphany. This might take more than one 2-hour show to go through.
Right.
There's a lot that's on the table that we have to discuss and we have to talk about. But
there may be a part 2 and there may be a part 3, but
right.
We're not sure. Our focus is what's going on with Green Thumb Parks and what went on with us, and we're going to be talking about both. Now,
we're currently deal with NYC right now.
Right now, currently, I'm on their website, and the community garden license deadline was extended for 30 days. Now, I'm going to read verbatim what is on their site. We are pleased that Green Thumb has extended the license agreement deadline to September 20th. Now, mind you, January 31st was the last day of last year for the license agreement. So basically, it's been an influx of back and forth with the license agreement. There is one in place, just to be clear. There is one in place, but the bulk of the Green Thumb gardens that are left did not sign it. Roughly 130 plus gardens have signed it, but not the rest of the gardens, which is a total of 353, correct me if I'm wrong.
So you know something's
so
not
that's
kosher.
over, right. So there's over 200 gardens that didn't sign. So we hope to continue negotiating in good faith. We all love our gardens and want to continue to have a relationship with Green Thumb and Parks Department. In light of the new deadline, we are canceling the rally scheduled for Monday at City Hall. And we are very grateful for the vigorous support of our community gardeners. We continue to recognize that our strength is in unity, and our goal is to continue to help New York grow.
Stop right there, please. It's strength and unity. Aziz, what happened to the unity? What happened to the unity with us when we came to you all and let you know what was going on?
That wasn't much unity.
Of course it wasn't much unity
at all.
And you know what? I'm calling you out because we had a conversation.
And I called you out online like about 2-3 weeks ago.
We're calling you out because your organization now, and you know what? There's some people that are in your organization that I know very well we've never had a problem. We spoke with you. The city gave you all $2 million. And in the same breath, when you said that there was nothing that you could do to help us. Now, this is me and my wife. You were speaking to us at Farm Rockaway when this whole thing was going on. And what's so sad is that We understand the politics and the dirty tricks that's involved with all of the people. What's so sad is that we have seen people that are supposedly good people. The thing is that those
It's not
so
about good people.
it's not about good people and the so-called good deeds. The thing is that it's about money. That's what it's about. That's what makes the world go round. But it's a tune, and everybody doesn't like to. They don't like to hear that. But that's what the facts are. But see, with us, it's never been about money. The proof is that we grew fruits and vegetables and gave that out for 13 years to the community. So it was never an issue about money with us. It was something of love. The thing is that you all want to get rid of the majority of the gardens that are in New York City. We're gonna get into that brief. We're gonna get into that, but I'm gonna digress and I'm gonna let my wife read a little bit. But I want everybody to know that these people are unsavory, and I said it, and I'm not saying it because I'm mad. I'm saying it because it's the truth, and this is what happened. Sometimes you have to take yourself out of the equation, sit back and watch things before you talk and before you divulge certain things. And the thing is that we sat back and we watched. So now I'm gonna let my wife finish.
Well, just to be clear, and as far as our situation is concerned, we are not at 58th Street. We are not at 31st Street. What happened was Green Thumb decided not to extend a lease to us. Okay.
In the winter time,
In the winter time.
listen. They came and told us that there was you're not maintenance and you're not doing any maintenance. Who does maintenance in the winter? We overwintered stuff and all of that, but who does maintenance in the wintertime? The whole thing was we messed up your timetable. We were still on the land. Your whole thing was to get rid of us. That was the legal part. You all can sit down and you can bullshit the community and people in Manhattan and tell them, oh well, it wasn't robust over there. Yeah, well, it wasn't robust because you all had 16 million dollars, and we told y'all that 16 million dollars, that was too much. We thought that was too much for that space that we had. But that 16 million dollars, anybody can go back on our Facebook pages and look at the plans that the New York City Parks Department, we put the plans that they gave us,
and we went back and
forth about it. So my thing is that they had the money, they were supposed to fix it, but they was never the intention was never to do that. The intention was to put pacify, but to put Rockaway Youth Task Force on the space with us, and to have something happen, or to make a narrative where, because there was a lot of back and forth. And what's so funny is that they went in the community and said what they said, but we were still doing and concentrating, focusing on growing. The thing was to create this narrative, a false narrative, like, they can't get along and this and that. We never had an agreement with these people. We never had an agreement.
We never had an MOU in place.
Never had an MOU in place.
Or any legally binding
He was contract. Never supposed to be on the land with us because it was a conflict of interest. He voted for our organization to be on the land, but not with him. That was his first vote at 19. That was his first vote when he got on the community board.
Right.
So in the bylaws of the community board, it says that in order for him to be on the land with us, we would have had to say we want to partner with him, and then there would have been a vote with the community board to grant that. That never happened.
Right.
So with that being said, by it not happening, they still forced him, like the hooker that he is, forced him on us. And the thing was, we understood that we had to play the game. So our whole focus was to concentrate on growing for the community and not trying to, be left alone, but not trying to get into any of the stumbling blocks and pitfalls that they were trying to maneuver us around. Maneuver us in.
Now, just to be clear, as far as maintenance was concerned, every year that we was on the space, especially up after 2016, because that's when the fire for us the push for us to get off the space really, really, really started. It was in 2015, 2016, but it really took momentum in 2016. Annually, they came to talk to us to see if there was people on the space. There was community gardeners, this, that, and the other.
Only reason they came to talk to us is because Rockaway Youth Task Force
and the politicians out on the East Ends and their supporters pushed the narrative for Green Thumb to taskmaster us. No problem. Every time, for the record, that they asked us for any documentation of what's going on, what is there people maintaining, if there was community gardeners, this, that, and the other, they always got updates. They always got pictures. They got a list of community gardeners. They got all that stuff.
And they saw that they couldn't get us that way.
Right.
So the next thing was to just, you know what? Let's do something else, because you can't get them this way.
Right. So when we followed that protocol, that was one thing. The main reason why Rockaway Youth Task Force was put on that land was for us to get into a fight with Rockaway Youth Task Force. And let me tell you something. They tried their damnedest to have us get into an altercation with them. Us, myself, Chef, and Rockaway Youth Task Force in several ways. Ourselves as adults.
We cannot make
Let me finish, Chef. Let me finish up. Us, ourselves as adults, and even with our children. The last year that we was doing stuff on the space, like our programming, I believe that was last year, right? It was to the point where Rockaway Youth Task Force, and I found out that a little bit later, that his children was spitting at my children just to get them to fight, so then that police could be called. Because remember what James said, that there was police reports, there was reports of civil unrest on the space.
And he's a liar. He lied.
So there was a reporter out in the community that in fact went to the police department, went through all the records of any kind of assault, any kind of attack,
any kind of problems.
Right. Nothing came up under my name. Nothing came up under my husband's name. Nothing came up of the agency's name, as far as us putting our hands on anybody or anything of that nature.
Didn't we have paperwork signed from the kids talking about that incident?
I believe so, but that's another story. Now, just to be clear. Now, as far as us, because I know people, now as we go through this, I know people are like, well, Dad, did they go for funding? What did they do to try to get money for the spaces and this, that, and the other? Like my husband said, $16 million was allocated to Farm Rockaway. We didn't ask for that money. When we went to James Sanders, when he was councilman, we only asked him for $5,000, and state ag officials went with us to go speak to him. We didn't ask for nothing more than that.
And we told we told the state ag officials that we didn't even want to ask him for no money because he was an unsavory character.
And everybody that's in the community knows that, right? No problem. We did what state ag wanted us to do. We partnered with them to go to speak to this man. No problem. He in fact wanted to put more money on the table, and then have RDRC as our fiscal agent.
And we told him
no.
Hell no.
Right. Because we already had a fiscal agent. James didn't want to deal with our fiscal agent. He wanted to deal with who he wanted to deal with.
And you know why? Do you know why he wanted to deal with? Do you know why he wanted to deal with? He wanted to force RDRC down our throat. He wanted to force RDRC down our throat because when we went into the meeting, now mind you, we had the meeting. It was James admitted he told her, okay, well we won't deal with RDRC. We won't deal with them. We're gonna deal with your people. A week after the meeting. Here, RDRC gives us a call, and they asked us to come in. We wasn't going to come in, but I just wanted to hear what they wanted to say, because it was funny.
Well, he said that in front of state ag officials, he wasn't going to deal with nobody but who he wanted to deal with.
Right.
Then a week later, we get a phone call from RDRC.
So we
Kevin Alexander.
We went into the meeting with Kevin Alexander
and his staff.
No, it was one. I forgot that woman's name.
That was his staff, though.
Yeah, but she was very, very beautiful woman. I don't think she works there anymore. She was
but at the time she was there.
Yeah, she was one of the only people that was really she was real. She was like the realest person there. But anyway, when we get to the meeting, now mind you, James put on the table $58,000.
And that came out in the wave, mind you.
Yeah, $58,000.
So let's be clear.
Let's be clear. $58,000. Now, mind you, when we get in this meeting, Kevin Alexander says, "Oh, well, I know that $58,000 was allocated, but you can only get 20,000." So we was like, "Okay, wait a minute.
We didn't want the 20. We just wanted 5.
We just wanted 5." Now, and this is coming from a man that James Sanders said that we was money hungry and greedy. Now, wait. $58,000. We can only get $20,000 of the money. So we asked
under certain conditions.
But that's when that came into play. When I asked him, well, what was it, 34? I'm saying he wanted to give us 20.
But so there was 38 left.
30, yeah. So we asked him, well, what happened to the other 38? He was like, he didn't give the answer right away.
Then got the nerve to go on the wave and say that he didn't know why we didn't want to take the money.
Stop. But wait, exactly.
Cut it out.
We told him why we didn't want to take the money. You're only giving us $20,000 of $58,000 that was allocated to us. But anyway, we asked him, so what happened to the rest of the 38?
Or what will happen?
Yeah. He said to us, my wife is the witness. He said to us, well, the thing is that if you don't, we're going to give it to you in cycles. Now, mind you, we didn't go up there for that. We went up there that money was supposed to go. We was curious, but that money was supposed to go to our fiscal agent, our fiscal sponsor, and then we were supposed to that was it. He said to us that he had to give it to us in cycles. And if we didn't complete the cycles to his satisfaction,
right,
that his organization would keep the rest of the money. So
and then he wanted us to sign a contract.
And he wanted us to sign a contract to back that up. So we told Kevin Alexander professionally, no, thank you.
Right.
And me and my wife got up and walked out.
But no thanks.
We walked out of the office. Now, mind you, James Sanders is a liar. If we were money hungry, we would have jumped at that $20,000
and signed that contract and jacked ourselves up.
Exactly. But because we're not money hungry and because we're very savvy and not stupid to get caught up in the foolishness that goes on in the Rockaways,
East Rockaways especially.
Yeah, we said no. We got up from the meeting and that was it. So Kevin Alexander in that newspaper with the wave, he was like, he don't know why we. Come on, man.
Now, that's one way we tried to get money. We did go through government. We went through government and but government officials.
We wasn't going to play ball. We wasn't going to be strippers.
Now, the $16 million, right? That was spearheaded by Green Thumb Parks and Goldfeder. Assemblyman Goldfeder when he was in office. Now, we went to all of the meetings, gave our plans, gave everything they asked for. Sketches, everything. The sketches that we gave, they blew them up and everything to get this thing done. And they kept putting stumbling blocks, this and that, and
jumping through fire hoops.
All this bureaucracy and all that stuff. And in the interim, Farm Rockaway was a lot longer, and then they cut it down to the point where it was, until then they cut it down and they put Rockaway Youth Task Force, and then they extended Rockaway Youth. Everything that we put on the table was viable and feasible. You see that we got $16 million for it. The thing is this. They didn't want us to do it because they knew they couldn't control it or they couldn't get a piece of money or anything. And I'm not talking about the folks on the West End. What the elected officials, some of them were supportive to a degree. Goldfeder was definitely supportive of the project. However, the money would have been earmarked for the East, and it was earmarked under the guise of James and the other elected officials. So that's what happened with that. We did due diligence for the record to get funding. We went to foundations, and what we found with the foundations, like we've always said to people that we spoke to, it's like a drug. It's nonprofit
drug cartels.
It's like drug cartels. You understand? It's like mobs. It's like mob shit. I'm gonna say it just like that. Nonprofit organizations that are foundations, right? That are run in the city of New York. The bulk of their money comes from the government sector, like for instance, the Council of New York. One of the heavier funders of foundations. Then you have the private sector, and that those kind of entities that fund these foundations. Now, I'm gonna bring this foundation up. New York Foundation. I put in the application for that like a week later. Miss Matola at the time, I don't know if she's the executive director, she said that we declined. What's so funny about that, I did the research on that. The city of New York, the Council of New York funds New York Foundation extensively. Number one. Now the council, that's of course Donovan. You know what I'm saying? You put the puzzle together, and then on one of their junior boards, there was people that were against us being on the space. Their group members were on the junior board. And we're going to leave that. So that's why we didn't get that money. It was politics. So every time that I went for funding, only one agency gave us funding. I'm not even going to mention it, but we thank them very much for it. They know who they are. They gave us money, but it wasn't enough money. We want to do aquaculture. We wanted to stick to what we wanted to do, but there was stumbling blocks because of Senator Sanders and because of Donovan Richards and because of Rockaway Youth Task Force and because of Rockaway Youth Task Force supporters that galvanized, not only went to the mayor and lied to the mayor. And I'm going to say this to the mayor. You were duped and you were fooled. To believe Donovan Richards. And see, that's why Donovan went to you. Of course you're going to believe Donovan instead of us, man. He banked on it and he won. But everything he told you and everybody else that came to you and lied on us, they did that so we didn't do the project.
And you know what?
And you believe them, and everything they said was a bunch of BS.
But we knew how deep it went.
But we knew how deep it went because we spoke to somebody extremely closer to you than Donovan.
Our back channels.
And you and your wife declined to even speak to us, which was a bad move on your part. See, if you want to know something, you get two sides of a story, not just one side of a story, because they're more organized and they're more political that you listen to them. You know how many times people go in and lie on other people because of the fact that they're politically tied and they can get away with it? They basically, they thought they got, in the eyes of God, they didn't get away with anything. They'll find that out soon enough. But in the interim of that, you sat there and believed these people. Everybody was lying to you about us. Yes, we did do maintenance. I got thousands of pictures. No BS of us on the spaces, doing programming, having workshops, doing the farmer stand, doing what the best that we could do with what we have until the very end. But you saw that despite all of the obstacles, I'm talking to James and Donovan especially, as men of color that hate their own, they run the district the way they do, and there's nothing going on in that district. I talked to multi-million-dollar organizations in the East End. There's nothing going on.
Steve and Uncle Steve.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Funding is stagnant to the point where $1 million organizations that had food programs had to let their people go, and I'm not going to say who particularly that was. So, ain't nothing going on in the Rockaways, man. You would think after everything that there'd be some kind of progressiveness as far as the food movement is concerned. The only progressive in the food movement is Bed-Stuy campaign against hunger. And what's so funny about that is, and this is no disrespect to any culture. This is a group that the executive director, she is who she is, from a different culture. Nancy Roman, she has funding. She doesn't need anybody out here, man. I've known of Nancy Roman and her work for a long time. She's always been tight with foundations and private sector and all that, so they always have their own funding, so they don't really need elected officials. They'll go to an elected official if they need to do a project, but they get money. And they're the only ones in the East End of the Rockaways that's doing anything progressive in the food movement.
And you know what?
And social impact. I was told the best social impact and the best movement with the food movement is Bed-Stuy.
And you know what's so sad about that? I give them kudos. The whole thing, anybody that knows us always know that when we was doing what we was doing, we always talked about there needed to be more green spaces and there needed to be more farming and
So
gardening and stuff
right.
like that.
So what's
But
so funny? Not to cut you off, sir. You know what's so funny? Now you got these kids that have been they've lived here all their life and they're doing this and they're doing it in the community. Why is it that an agency
organization
that doesn't live out here and the agencies from Brooklyn doing a better job at food justice and food security than you, and you've been born and raised in that community,
and y'all have the backing and the funding.
not so, only that, you 9 times out of 10, I don't know if you sign a lease for 58th Street, that's illegal, but 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get 58th Street. Now, what impact have you made? You haven't made any impact. You talking about 20,000 tons of food a year, bruh. I got pictures, and I'm gonna put them on social media. I got pictures of you guys on a Saturday when it's supposed to be busy with minimal boxes, bruh.
We always taking pictures.
And I told you that. And I told you that. The only reason why you did what you did is because you could. And even with that, you did have a teeny weeny bit of a conscience because you went into onrockaway.com, Howard Schwartz's blog, and you said, well, damn. And when all that thing about the vandalism, all that stuff started to come out, and I know who did it. And he thinking he getting away, talking about he gonna be an assemblyman and all this nonsense. How are you gonna be? Let me ask you a question. I'm not even gonna name this fool. How are you gonna be an assemblyman? You have no experience at all to run a district. Cause you was tied to these orange kids and plus you got James and you gonna run an entire district? It's bad enough that the district ain't getting money like they used to, and that's because people are watching every last one of you. So what you think? You gonna go up in there and do a strip show or a 2-step and money's gonna come? No money ain't gonna come. You know President Trump ain't playing. You know that. And funding is extremely slow going into agencies, especially out in the east side of the Rockland. There's $1 million agencies that are like tight built right about now. But, it's like a collective of things. We done everything that was asked of us. We went to every damn thing. Let me tell you something. Out of over a decade of us being on the spaces, anytime Green Thumb Parks, the commissioner, or an elected official wanted to talk to us, we made ourselves available. We went to these meetings. For Farm Rockaway alone, we went to at least 60 meetings. And I counted all of the whether it was in person, whether it was a teleconference, whether it was at the Arsenal, whether it was at the Green Thumb office. I don't care where at Farm Rockaway or 35. I mean, I've had meetings at Donovan's office. I've had meetings about Green Thumb.
Really didn't want to.
We didn't. I had community gardeners and talking about we don't have community gardeners. There was community gardeners that went with us to that meeting with Donovan, and a business consultant that went with us.
This was.
But nobody supports culinary kids. There's nobody there and all this nonsense. No, man. What it is every time you threw something at us, we ducked and we came back with all the answers that you wanted. You didn't want to hear, but you heard because these were the right answers.
You know what it was? The difference between us is that our whole thing was about supporting the people that you chose not to support.
Exactly.
The so-called
going on New York 1 in line and all that nonsense. How can you say there was nothing going on the space when there was $60 million? Why don't you talk about the $60 million that was earmarked for 58th Street and nothing moved on 58th Street because the intention wasn't for us to get that money to do that.
Melinda Katz took all that back because we opened our mouths. So my whole thing is that we're telling a lot of stuff now because we were under Green Thumb's contract, and in the contract we could not, certain things we couldn't do. And we were told by a very good friend of mine too, that the worstest thing that we could do by being in the Green Thumb network is if something happens to us is by going on social media and talking about it.
That was psychology.
Yeah, that was psychology.
We really didn't listen, really.
We didn't. But my thing is that now we're not a part of Green Thumb.
So we're gonna say it, and
we're gonna say it, and we're gonna bring it out.
Yeah.
But before we started with these things, we're gonna be going back and forth with certain things. But we want to make the record clear. We want to clear the record as of right now. Everybody in the community knows James Sanders is full of shit. There's no other way to put it. Now, James Sanders, we went on social media, we showed paperwork that he said there was never a meeting, all of these things. We went on social media and we showed the paperwork that would be for court. We went and we showed this stuff. My whole thing is that James Sanders, not only is he's too old to be he's too old to be in this game now because he can't even remember. The paperwork stated the subject matter was Farm Rockaway, and the talk was about Farm Rockaway. There were people in the FBI, all of these people, they looked at the paperwork. They never even, they conceded like, yo, you know what?
And why would we lie on an elected official? That perjure ourselves.
There's no reason.
That's automatic jail time.
Of course it is. And the feds, if we was lying, if we were lying, the feds would have did something about it. But I'm gonna say this to you too. See this cat Baharit.
He reaped what he sowed.
He reaped what he sowed too, because instead of doing the right thing, he put everything on the back burner. Because it's all Democrat. That whole thing is ran by
Democrat liberal stuff.
Yeah, Democrat liberal. What is it? It's called socialism.
No,
now,
it's
right?
Democratic socialism now.
That's just for anyone that doesn't know. That's just another cute way of saying communism.
Right.
But anyway, boy, if this was the McCarthy era, whoo! But anyway, listen, James Sanders is the biggest. He's the biggest liar. There has been said that we're no longer on the space because he has us in court. Listen to me very carefully. Another lie. Another lie. But let me get back to this. If you would like to foil the Freedom of Information Act has all of the valid information about the meeting that we had. You can actually foil this information.
The email.
Yeah. You can actually foil it to see for yourself. There were newspaper people that asked us questions, that interviewed us. They wanted to do stories. They told us they was going to do stories, but when they foiled the paperwork, they told us they was like, whoa, oh, wow. Yeah, there was a meeting, apparently. No, ain't no apparently. Yes, there was a meeting. You understand what I'm saying?
And it said Farm Rockaway.
The subject matter was Farm Rockaway. So the thing is, now you got to ask yourself this. Why would he not want to talk and discuss about that particular meeting?
Exactly.
You know why he wouldn't want to talk and discuss that particular meeting? Because that was the meeting where he wanted to give us the $1.7 million. And he wanted $250,000 in cash back. That's why he wouldn't want to talk about it. He don't have us in court. He's a liar.
Stop telling people that the reason why we're not on the space is because you have us in court and we're litigating with you in court. Knowing bloody well that the press or anybody and all that stuff is public record. If we were in court, that would be, you could call county clerk's office to verify that. So again, stop doing that. They didn't give us, Green Thumb didn't give us a lease because that was one of the last options that they had, because everything else was a bunch of BS. And the justification behind not giving us a lease was lack of maintenance, primarily on the stupid paper.
And my whole thing is, how are you going to ask us to do maintenance in the winter? Out of the 13 years that we have been on those spaces,
you never came to do done maintenance until the last year and a half, and I'm gonna tell you how that happened. Especially with 58th Street, it's so funny. We went on Facebook, and them pictures are still there. We went on Facebook because we overwintered our crops. We went on Facebook and we put all these pictures of food everywhere on the space because the narrative is just grass, which is why I went through that place and labeled everything. But it's good that, not to cut you off, Chef, it's good that I labeled everything and I took pictures of everything that was on the space.
And listen, not only that, there was a meeting with William Lassalle, with what was his name again?
El Duce?
Yeah, Little El Duce. There was a meeting with Little El Duce, and what happened was he came out there, and our gardeners was out there.
And we
Not
just
only
started
that,
planting.
our lawyer was out there too at the time. When we told him that there was food in there, we asked him to walk through. He was like, no.
He didn't want
He
to
didn't
walk
want to
through
walk
because
through.
he didn't
But-
want to see what was there because I had everything labeled.
Right. And there was stuff that was there. There was other people that walked through, but he didn't want to walk through.
Now getting back to that with the okay, fine. I took pictures and I put on Facebook of all the patches. There was 4 patches of strawberries towards the back part of the property.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. Maybe like 2-3 days later, Park sends me and shoots me an email and leaves me a message. Oh, we're coming to do maintenance. They came on 31st Street and 58th Street. Now, mind you, I labeled 31st Street, and
we got the pictures.
There was one inspection time that Green Thumb came out, and I couldn't make it, but I left the gate open, wrote them a detailed email, where to walk, where not to walk, because everything was labeled. Right after that, if not too far after that, if not, Green Thumb Parks came out there and wiped out both spaces.
Yep.
Wiped it out. They cut through everything. Everything. The crop covers, because we use crop covers. The food, the strawberry, the garlic, the eggplants, the herbs, because we had a lot of herb bushes and I showed that on Facebook. Everything was wiped out, especially last year before the lease was up. Now, what made it hard for us to do anything on the spaces, now every year by law they're supposed to spray, especially by parks areas and stuff like that. Those areas are considered parks areas. You're supposed to put mosquito spray and stuff like that. Right. They did it every year up until last year. There were so many insects on the spaces that I didn't want to be liable for it. And parks definitely wouldn't want to take responsibility for that. But it was primarily for ourselves. We had to do things in and out of the spaces because the insects was ridiculous. Now, what I did with my kids, and all my kids could vouch for that. I always provided mosquito sprays, first aid kits, bangles.
And even with that, they still didn't destroy the crops. You know why the crops wasn't destroyed from the mosquitoes? Because as farmers,
the bugs, but it was bugs and mosquitoes.
But the reason why the crops wasn't destroyed because as farmers, as real farmers,
right, we
know what we're doing
with the herbs and stuff and where to put them.
Exactly, and we did other things to actually used organic things that that were passed down from my father and my mother. And we put that stuff on the plants and stuff like that.
The whole thing, because it was the end and the lease was going to be up, they got to get more aggressive to make it to like kick us off the space, like make it mess it up. No bugs. We can't go in there now. Okay, they're not in there, so now we can say that when they're not hitting the community garden, nothing. So just get rid of them because time was running out on the lease. But see, God sits on the throne. See, all I will say to all of the co-conspirators for what happened to 31st and 58th Street, I don't want to be none of y'all. Like I've said before, we got the heads up from close colleagues about 2 years ago about what's coming down the pike. I don't want to be none of y'all. Politically, I don't want to be none of y'all. Why do you think that 18-wheeler got our ass out of there? And by the way, message to a homeboy that said that, oh, no one cares and nobody supports culinary kids. That big-ass 18-wheeler was gratis. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You wouldn't have been able to pull that off gratis, sweetie. So watch what you say about who supports who and what. The Lord got us out of there because catastrophe is coming. So you stay right there where you at. Matter of fact, when we came there that day to get our stuff because Green Thumb didn't allow us on 31st Street, and then you dummies, you put it in writing. You got some nerve, but that's all right. Thank you for making the mistakes that you've made. I appreciate that. But anyway, when we went up there to 58th Street, We went up there and stayed there till about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. You know why? Because we were told that someone was going to subpoena us while we were there. So we made it our point to get there like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning before that 18-wheeler got his ass up there, and stayed the whole day. Went back and forth, ate, took our time. The guys that we hired to help us clean out and stuff like that, we took our sweet ass time till 5 o'clock. Because we were told the senator was going to subpoena us to go to court. Not a soul came there. Rockaway Youth Task Force knew we was there because they was driving back about on the phone calling, whoever they was calling to let them know we was leaving. Nobody came to do jack crap.
Yo, shout out to Far Rockaway on Facebook. Far Rockaway.
You understand what I'm
Far
saying?
Rockaway's one of the...
Right. Big up to Far Rockaway. And, you talking about you're going to sue us and all that stuff. First, let me say this, too. As far as you or Parks or anybody else who listen to me, why you're not going to give us a platform to go sit our ass in front of a judge and a jury and prove everything that we saying is true?
We got too much.
Not James, not Donovan, not Rockaway Youth Task Force, not their supporters, not none of that. Nobody's going to take us through, because that's all we would need to just tell everything that happened, even in front of a paid off judge.
I got even one better.
And a paid off jury.
I got one even better. You know who's another big liar? One of the biggest liars. And I hope you got enough sense to sit your ass down. Jonathan Gasker, listen to me. I hope you
El Duce the first.
Nah. Freddie Mercury. Listen, this is what I'm saying. You sat with Howard Schwach in an interview.
Yep.
You told Howard Schwach.
That same interview, Rockaway Youth Task Force and all that stuff. Vandalism and all that stuff.
Well, listen, no.
Just foolish, man.
They agreed. There's paperwork. But then he said that he lost the paperwork. Now, Jonathan Gasker said that he lost the paperwork for the record. Now, wait a minute. Not for nothing.
Thank you for the mistakes.
Listen. No, the thing is that they think everybody's a dummy. Right. Especially in the community. They think folks is dummies. Listen to me, bruh. Think about what I'm about to say. Even if he did lose it, we
would have a copy.
We would have a copy. The Rockaway Youth Task Force would have a copy.
And don't you think they would have been swinging that copy or putting it on Facebook or putting it on their website? You don't think they would have did that by now?
Nah. The reason why they didn't do it
because they didn't have it in the first place.
And you can't even foil it.
That's a long ass wait for that foil.
You wouldn't be able to foil it. So now I'm gonna say this to you. Now we can say this. Conspiracy. We definitely can say it because it was more than one. And I'm gonna say this to you. People that in the Rockaways know without question, unequivocally, if you live in the Rockaways, you know what's going on basically to a large degree. Jonathan Gasker and James Sanders hate each other, bro.
To this day.
They got their asses together to try to get rid of our black asses. You understand what I'm saying to you?
So they put all their negative shit aside.
Yeah, they put their negative shit aside. Jill Weber was part of that too. And
she broke out.
But I'm going to show you how deep this went. When we went up to the office to have the meeting, Milan Taylor and Jonathan Gasker were sitting up there, and they said that Jill Weber wanted to give Milan Taylor both our spots. The reason why they said that was to incite us to go curse this woman out. Because some people in the community know how we can be. But the thing is that we're professionals.
We know what game we was in.
We know what game we was in, but we're professionals. But there's a time to take professional stuff and put it aside. And sometimes people need their asses cursed out. They really truly do, to be made aware. See, if I am being nice to you and I'm talking all like this, you're not going to understand how upset I am. Oh no, well, I'll understand if you could word it and you could listen.
Don't go on a rant.
All that is game.
Losing 200 gardens in the network, that's a rant, right?
Listen, all that is game. Because people don't want to be put on blast, and they don't want to be cursed out. So the whole thing is that if you do that, I'm not listening to you. You don't know how to eloquently put down how you feel. You don't know how to express yourself, and because you are cursing, I don't have to listen to you. So that's the game. This political correct shit. Sometimes it needs to be thrown out of the window. Men need to be men. Women need to be women.
Yep.
And you need to, when you're being harassed and, like I said, conspiracy. This
conspired
is
against.
Conspired against, but it's a conspiracy. My whole thing is that we can prove what we're saying.
That's why you don't want to take our ass to court.
That's why you don't want to take.
No,
you know what?
None of y'all gonna take us to court.
James Sanders.
That would be a blessing in disguise. You know that.
I dare you.
Want to bless us? That's for sure.
Dare you as a coon to take us to court. Listen to me, man. I'm gonna give you a little information. James Sanders and Donovan Richards are both coons. Because Donovan Richards stood on the steps of City Hall with James Sanders talking about they was going to sue us for $1 million.
So where was the petition?
Listen.
Where was the process server?
You only had the last day two reporters come out. There was only 2 reporters that came out. And wait. Not only were there 2 reporters there, one of the reporters called us. Yo, the reporter called us and was like, he didn't believe shit you said. That's his exact words on the record. Yep. He didn't believe shit you said.
But that's that hokey doke 2-step.
Yeah, that's that burlesque Cardi B. I'm pole dancing. That's what that was. But now wait, check this out. Not only did he say that, he said off the record, he said we foiled.
Yep.
The paperwork that y'all was talking about.
That's he said why y'all didn't get no coverage for that. Nobody
he said it's in existence. He said it's in existence. He said there were people that thought y'all were. He said there were people that thought y'all was crazy, but he said there were a lot of other people that was like, yo, no, that knew us and that knew our work. And he said to us that there's people that really like what y'all doing, and they said that y'all standing up like nobody else. My whole thing is that he didn't like the idea, and he said that James Sanders, he said he put it out there, but nobody really came. He said it was only him and another reporter that showed up on the steps of City Hall. So again, like I said, Donovan Richards gets it too, because by you, Donovan Richards, standing by his side, that means
attesting to that.
That means
that's defamation of character.
Yeah,
you want to run your mouth about some damn defamation of character? That's defamation of character.
No, I got one better for you. Now, listen, I got one better for you. You want to hear
what defame your character?
You want to hear what defamation of character is? We never we told the truth, but I'll give you defamation of character. You know what defamation of character is? Defamation of character is when you told people, well, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me back it up and go to the beginning. Me and my wife sat on the board of the Friends of the Library group.
Mm-hmm.
I was the treasurer. My wife was the vice president. Tammy Shrugs was the president. To make a long story short, as the treasurer, I am supposed to be informed of any type of monies that's dealing with the library. I'm supposed to be informed about that. They did 3 fundraisers, didn't tell us about it. We caught them when the first fundraiser was being done.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question, well, listen, I'm supposed to be notified. Make a long story short, Tammy Shrugs said that there were only 2 fundraisers.
Yep.
So we did our investigation and found out that there was actually 3 fundraisers that went down.
So then where was the money?
So now wait. 3 fundraisers went down. So when the board collectively came back together to talk about this, what happened was Tammy Shrugs came in with her. If anybody know Tammy Shrugs, funky woman, bro, came in there with a funky attitude, talking about, here's the paperwork and the money for the 2 fundraisers we did. So now we was listen, Sharon Anderson, she knew it was gonna be. She knew that the proverbial shit was about to hit the fan.
Yep.
So she quickly escorted us. She quickly escorted us into that room. When you come into the library, it's right off to the right hand side. Yep. She quickly escorted the whole board into this room. So now I'm gonna show you how dirty these people play, bro. This whole thing was never about the chefs. When we got in that room, Kathy Cox, when we sat down, Kathy Cox said that there were 3 fundraisers. When that woman said that, all hell broke loose. The hell that broke loose was between Sharon Anderson, Kathy Cox, and Tammy Shrugs. We were sitting there. It was Deborah Somay, my wife, and myself. We sat there like it was John McEnroe and they was playing tennis at Wimbledon. Just volleying, just back and forth. It was never us. So now wait, what happened after that happened? What I did was I made a motion to get rid of Tammy Shrugs as the president. Mm-hmm. Once that motion was put into play, I think if not later than the next day or the day after that, Tammy Shrugs, along with her pastor,
this one, James,
along with her pastor and some church members, went up to James Sanders' office as the councilman, told a lie, told James Sanders that we stole money,
right?
And James Sanders,
because he didn't like us anyway.
Yeah, because he didn't like us anyway.
Because
he couldn't control us. Mm-hmm. Instead of him coming to find out what happened, we heard through the grapevine, and what he did was he went to Galante was the man that was in charge of the library at the time. So he went to the library and told them basically to dismantle the group.
Right. To cover it up. It's a cover up
because they did not want their 501c3 being investigated because by us saying that there was money that was missing.
Right.
There was money missing.
Right.
We're not trying to make and the thing was that we were told that we was trying to control it. So now check this out. Defamation of character. This is where it comes in.
James.
Dubious one. You went and told people in the community that we stole money. I'm going to say this to you. The proof is that people had to go up to the community board and find out.
Yep, and a whole bunch of people
of people went up to the community board to find out what was going on. And Deborah Somay,
who was the secretary.
She was the secretary. And what's so funny is we put her on, we asked her to be on. She didn't want to be on the board to a degree because she kind of, she wanted to be because she wanted to be involved in the community. But she knew people.
She knew the damn strip show.
She knew it was a strip show. The thing was that when we brought her, listen, I'm going to show you how ungrateful these people were. When we brought her to the board,
they tried to make her feel bad. They tried to make her come back.
Why is she here? What's she doing here? Well, she was the secretary. That's why she's here. We wanted to be transparent. What better way than to have somebody that works at the community board there, just in case some shit happened, because we've dealt with the things out in Rockwood, so we know how it can be. That's why we had Deborah Somay on the board. And what's so funny is after James tried to defame us by saying that, they stole money, people were coming up there and asking Deborah Somay what happened
before they stepped to us.
And the thing was that Deborah Somay told them. It wasn't them. They didn't steal no money.
And then she broke it down.
And she broke it down and told them what happened. It was never us. And everybody was saying, oh, they're trying to control. Nah, that was the narrative. They didn't want nobody to know that money was being stolen. And they illegally, that library illegally disbanded the Friends of the Library group. So with that being said, hope y'all don't have, I know there's a library being built there. Hope you ain't got no Friends of the Library group that you want to put on board now. Because that would be illegal, and you all could get sued for that. But anyway, the point is that James Sanders is the worstest. You all.
That's people, defamation of character. You want to run your fat mouth.
You black folks voted for James Sanders to be where he's at.
To do nothing.
And I'm gonna say this to you.
And there's nothing going on, so he did his job.
So nobody feel no way. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. I really feel because all of the white folks we spoke to, they just knew he was no good. So I just can't see white folks voting for him. But now all of you black folks that voted for him, Y'all
To do nothing.
To do nothing. Y'all stupid. And yes, I said it. He is a con artist. Him and Donovan Richards. Straight con artist. Donovan Richards stood by his side on City Hall. He was not in the meeting, but he greeted us when we came in. So you
For
knew
that
there was
meeting
a
about
for
the
that meeting about
1.7.
about the 1.7 for
Right.
Farm Rockaway. So you knew there was a meeting yourself. So you're just as guilty, and you're
Just as
considered
much
a
as a
liar
liar.
as he is to a large degree.
Yeah.
So, like I said,
And another thing too, Donovan, you not paying attention. You were CC'd in the emails, bro. You and the other Lopez.
The Lopez, James Sanders was like, oh, listen.
So you went on City Hall to do what?
He wasn't working for me at that time. He didn't work for me. They're of dubious distinction. If he didn't work for you, why was he CC'ing?
If Donovan wasn't working for you, why would Donovan be
Look,
CC'd?
everybody. That paper that we showed on Facebook, that my wife showed on Facebook, all you got to do is look at that paper. You can blow that paper, pause it and blow it up, and you can see. Or you can forward it yourself and see. He was CC'd in the conversation.
Yeah, but you wasn't there.
But he wasn't working there.
I'm glad y'all made all these mistakes.
My whole thing is that I'm talking to black folks right now. If you all vote for Donovan Richards or James Sanders, y'all stupid. And I said it, and I mean that. If they can lie, it's called Willie. My daddy used to say that there's two words to describe the black man and the black woman in America. Mm-hmm. Willie Lynch. Mm-hmm. Slave mentality. Mm-hmm. Listen, if it had to go down, I'd rather be I'm gonna say it. I'd rather be a field Negro than a house Negro any day. Mm-hmm. You two Stevens are nothing but house Negroes.
Y'all went on wax and lied, knowing damn well that you were CC'd in the meeting and was in attendance in the meeting. Despite the fact that you sat in the meeting or not, you were notified by the elected official that you worked for that there in fact would be a meeting, and it was confirmed.
Yep.
And you still went out there to
stood
lie,
by his side.
And that's why your story didn't get the press that you was looking for, because other reporters, white press, angled that themselves because the proof was foiled. So you saying you wasn't in attendance, but the white press knew you was. That's why when James tried to say he was going to sue us to try to scare us, or for whatever reason, it didn't get the more push because everybody knew
he wasn't scaring.
Trying to,
he wasn't scaring.
He was more scared than anybody.
The whole thing was, James, I dare you. Listen. Here we go. I dare you to sue us.
You were supposed to sue us. We broke down and got out.
Listen,
of it.
I'm Chef Moses. This will be the last time you ever hear me talk like this. I dare you to sue us. I dare your ass to sue us.
You're not going to give us that exposure.
You're not going to give us that exposure. Because if you give us that exposure, like I said,
we'll beat the judge there.
Listen, the judge is going to look at you like, why did you do this? They got too much evidence, too much proof. The FBI told us. They was like, oh wow, y'all need to get a lawyer. That's all they said. And we was like, yo, you know what? We already got that. But now, let me show you how deep this goes when I say conspiracy. Melinda Katz sent a lawyer at us.
Me and you was thinking the same thing.
Melinda Katz sent a friend of hers, which is a lawyer, at us. Now the reason she sent him was to get information.
And guess what, Katz? He didn't get everything. So we
gave him, we gave him Katz. We gave him piddles. We gave him spittle. That's what we gave him. But we held on to the bombs. We held on to the bombs. We held on to the bombs.
Just to be clear. You reap what you sow. You're going to say, you see, a lot of people took for granted that we were people of color, and elected officials and certain people in the community sent spies and all this nonsense, people to get information. And we watched everybody, and we played possum with everybody, especially the dude that came and said he was Kat's friend and this, that, and the other. So we played possum with his ass too. If you don't know what possum is as a white woman, please go find out. Okay, but there's more information that wasn't divulged to anybody because we know we're gonna litigate this, so we wasn't
Yeah, but
stupid.
you know what? I got one.
So
I got
that's
one
for
even
you,
better.
cats.
I
You
got
think
one.
you so smart.
I got one for you. I got one even better for you, cats. I got one. Oh, if you don't know who we're talking about Melinda Katz. Listen to me. I would not have ever voted for this woman. Whoever voted for her, y'all stupid. Listen to this. We made her aware of
Yeah,
what was going on
yeah.
in the library.
We got that proof too.
Of course, we got that. And you know
Now,
what? The best thing for you to do as a district attorney.
I don't know if
She
they
won.
declared it not or
Well,
what.
whatever.
And Caban should be ashamed of herself, and I'm saying that for the record.
Listen,
You're gonna have these two stooges in your photo op, and you're going for a open. You're going for a very important position
listen.
in government, and you got two knuckleheads in your photo op that people don't like. So that's why Cats won by default.
Not for
I mean,
nothing.
that
for
whole
nothing.
thing was a fiasco.
Not for nothing.
She should be
The
ashamed of
picture
herself.
that I saw you, what's her name again?
Caban.
Okay, Caban. The picture that I saw you in with James Sanders standing on the right hand side of you. If you look at that picture, listen to me.
Why
He
do
don't
you
look
think
like a
it was an
supporter.
uproar?
He don't look like a supporter. You know what he looked like? He looked like a pimp on a corner waiting for you to go get his money. That's what he looked like. He had his arms all folded and his face all frowned up like he a pimp and he waiting to get his money.
Going to get his cash at
Yeah, want to get his cash at the end of the day.
Bro.
So his whole thing was like, yo, see if you can hit these bricks and get that bread. I'm saying this. Listen to me. Listen, man.
That was a complete fiasco. And then y'all want to go to court with the votes and all that. Listen, let me tell you something, Caban. Let me tell you something.
You think the folks was going to do that? Nah.
Let me tell you something. If for all that you had him and the other knucklehead in the photo op, listen, all you had to do if you really didn't want to be district attorney, you might as well just because you did what you did with these photo ops, you might as well just knocked on Katz's door and then just gave the position to Katz, or just gave it to Dan Brown and he would have gave it to him.
You shouldn't have never put James Sanders. By default, man. You should have never put James Sanders in a photo op
and the other knucklehead.
Yo, but you know what though? James Sanders he just like Charlie Bojangle Wrangles. He's a necessary evil, bruh. And we understood that. We always overstood it. My thing is that, you know, people are like, oh, well, you know what? Man, nobody gonna believe these guys. And you know what? I'm just gonna keep going. You know what? I blame the east end of the community. I blame you all. I blame you all for putting him in office and allowing him.
Doing anything,
and you know what's so funny? On some real stuff.
They're not even getting funding.
People in the communities. There's black people in the community that got nothing but stories for days about James Sanders and Donovan Richards. Negative stuff. So my whole thing is that those same people, it took me, you know, this is what when we first came out there and started doing what we were doing. People came up to us and was telling us all this stuff, and you know, not for nothing, they were telling us everything, but then we'd see these same niggas up in their faces, cooning and spooning. So we already knew what we was dealing with our people in general.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Make it. Listen, I'm gonna say. This last little thing I'm gonna say. Just to show you how deep it goes.
Mm-hmm.
When we first got the space on 31st Street, I'll never forget this.
And this is a true story.
I'll never forget.
Because there was a state executive that
was out there. The fruits and stuff that we grew was so tall. He was sitting in one of the chairs by the raised beds,
right? And
he couldn't be seen,
right? Yep.
There was a woman that came in there
from James's office
as councilman. She was like, this woman came up there and was like, listen, I need to know how the fuck y'all get this place, and this is how she came in all rude and crazy. Listen to me. This white man, he was listening to everything. He just listened. He didn't say anything. But when she just got too outrageous, you know, he stood up. And when he stood up and she saw him, she quickly got into her Toyota Camry. Was it pink?
I don't
Is
remember.
well, it was a pink car. I think it was a Toyota. Soon as she seen him, she was irate, crazy, and she was just coming at us. And we was looking at her.
And the state ag official was
The
sitting there where
state
he
ag
was, and he
official
heard
was,
the whole thing, but
and
he
when he
wasn't
stood,
seen though.
he was just shocked. He stood up. Soon as she seen him, she got off the land, got in her car, and drove off. You know what he said to us? He said, "I wouldn't have never believed this if I didn't hear it and
I
see
got
it
it.
for myself."
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's his exact word. But I'm gonna say this to you. I could give his name, but I'm not gonna give his name though. I'm not gonna give his name. And believe you me, very important guy in the food movement. But like I said, the thing is, he was there through our journeys, watching all of the things and listening to all of the things that we was telling him. We told him because we had boots on the ground in Rockaway.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the trenches. It's not that he didn't believe what we were saying, but we was telling him, yo, he was trying to guide us and make us go certain ways, and we was trying to tell him, no, you got to bring that angle back a little bit, and we're gonna have to go this way. And he, after everything is said and done, after all of these years, believe it or not, you know what he said to us? He said, listen, I wished I had to listen to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
He said, y'all was right about everything.
Mm-hmm.
How it is, the climate, what's going on out here.
And he was surprised at James through the way he was acting because he supported him financially through his campaign too.
Yeah.
So that was money wasted.
James ain't nothing but a James Sanders is a coon. Not only is a coon, listen to me, man. At this meeting, I wouldn't even say a showman, because that's too good of a word to say. Sammy Davis Jr., James Brown, they're showmans.
Mm-hmm.
But James Sanders is a coon. He took his coat off and laid it on the floor for this woman to walk over. She was looking at him, and I'm going to tell you something, James. Not for nothing. She said you was a clown, bro. She called you a clown after the meeting, bro. She called you a clown, bro. You was a clown.
Dude, you turned out. But
yeah,
going back to the situation with the community gardeners and the community as a whole, 200 community gardens got wiped out, and they're not coming back into the Green Thumb Network. So that's nonprofit groups, that's community members, that's probably teachers, that's probably children, that's probably a whole host of people that got affected by a strike of a pen.
When we first came into the network,
and that's real fucked up. And
there were over
like
600 gardens.
Now it's 353.
Listen to me, man. They cut and with NYC, with Aziz, where were you at when all of this was going on?
Exactly.
Where were you at when they're cutting all of these gardens, Aziz?
Exactly. Or your
I'm
agency.
not even. No. Listen, there's people in NYC that I respect. I've sat on panels with them, had discussions. We've had discussions and all of that. So I have respect for those people. The thing is that if there's a person that is the leader, that's the person that's in charge. So you have to do what the leaders say do.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah.
So I hold nobody else responsible than Aziz. I'm calling his name. I'm saying it. Yeah. Aziz. That's who I'm holding you responsible. Because where was NYC when all of these gardens were, I'm pretty sure that nobody even realizes in the network that there was over 600. There was over 600 plus gardens.
Like I said,
when Edie Stone was there.
And there was 600 plus gardens with Nancy Cone there. You know what's so funny? Let's talk about that real quick. 600 gardens was in the Green Thumb Network for a long time. 2 women administrators under 2 female administrators. It wasn't the most perfect thing in the world, but at least the gardens were intact. All the gardens were intact. Number 1. Number 2, at least when it was time to sign a lease, it didn't take damn near a year. So obviously, there's an agenda for something else to come down the pike, which is why there was a rally and it was called off. All that stuff is game anyway. You understand what I'm saying to you? I strongly feel, and this is just my commentary, that there's a movement for no more community gardening, no more urban farming. They don't give a damn whether you're political or not. I'll give you a perfect example. And I don't even know what happened to this sister. I hope that she kept her farms because she really worked hard for it. There's a woman in Brooklyn. She has 5 farms.
You're not gonna say her name.
We're not gonna say her name. 2 is under Green Thumb, 3 is under HPD, if I'm not mistaken. Now, she's a woman of color. She has support not only from the community, from the borough president, from elected officials, on every level of government. I'm talking about the federal level, the state level, and the city level. Okay? She has the support of the police department. She has support wherever she needs to. And she's gotten funded for her projects as a woman of color. And I've always respected her and I've always admired her till this day. And Green Thumb gave her grief for all the things and the contributions that she made to the movement. William Lasasso, you had no respect for that woman. You don't have respect for anybody.
He didn't have respect for us. You know, in the
He
meeting,
didn't have respect for us.
he was so condescending.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Very disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
But it'll come back to you, though.
As
Watch
a
what I tell
man,
you.
as a
Reap
man,
what you sow.
as a man, I wanted. You know, you have to be professional. But as a man, for some
Throwing
reason with
cheap
us,
shots. Watch your mouth.
I really wanted to slap the taste out of his mouth because he was talking to my wife like, you know how some people, some white folks sometimes they
No
say
disrespect.
things. No,
It's not all.
no,
Let's be clear.
not all. But some white folks do this thing where they, you know what I'm saying? You know, bruh, all that. He was like, well, listen, I heard it's not popping over there. Why? Now we're in a professional meeting,
In front of attorneys and everything.
And
we all looking at you, including your own attorney was looking at you and he was just shaking his head like he ready. Your own attorney wanted to get up and leave from that meeting.
Yeah, but my thing is that we had to keep our composure. But as a man of color, I do not disrespect I would never disrespect nobody's wife. Anybody that knows me in Rockaway community, I am a gentleman. The thing is that I would never disrespect any woman, and that's just what it is. And I hold the same thing true to my heart with my wife. And not for nothing,
No, what's not popping is
what's not.
I'm gonna tell you what's not popping.
And drag. I want the dog walk.
I'll tell you what's not popping, little El Duce. 200 gardens and hundreds, if not thousands, of people being affected that those gardens are not there. And what did you do about it? What funding came through? What did you do about to maintain those gardens? Talking about there's no maintenance. There was no maintenance for those 200 gardens, including the 2 that we had. You didn't do anything to help anybody. It was all about politics and money, which is why 353 gardens are still left. And after a while, those are going to get rid of too.
And we told you before, Green Thumb, we told y'all, Commissioner Silver, yeah, he's a coon too. Listen, we told y'all, if y'all wasn't going to give us a lease, now we had police reports showing the things that were stolen and all of that stuff. We told you, give us our money. I said,
you're going to reap what you
give us our money.
Watch what I tell you.
And we, you want to get rid of us? No problem. But just make sure you give us our money. Y'all didn't even respond to us.
We gave y'all like 4 or 5 different emails up until the end.
Gave you all of the police reports to show you and to let you know what was stolen and all that stuff.
Gave you a financial, all that.
Your contract stated and stipulated.
Not the lease, but there's policies.
There's policies, yes. But that's why y'all rush to change your policies with the gardeners and all of that.
That's why you don't even want none of them there, to be honest. Yeah. But it'll be see, that's the thing. It'll be too political, and it could be. This is my own opinion. It could be because the mayor's going for the presidential role to eradicate the gardens while he's going for the presidency.
Williams not. I'm not
that would look real bad, and
that
would stop him from going any higher into the presidential situation. So there's a reason why the new lease is not being signed, even though there's a one in place. 130 plus gardens signed it, but the rest didn't. So obviously there's some issues with that new lease that people don't want to sign. And you know what's so funny? I gotta go back to Rockaway Task Force. You did, and I'm pretty sure my husband told you that when we did talk. Cause don't get us wrong, we have talked to Rockaway Youth Task, but we stayed away.
We was forced to deal with it.
For the most part, we stayed away because we knew the agenda. But wait, let me finish.
Wait, I'm sorry. No, Howard Schwab foiled a email that basically said from Nancy Cohen that if we did not work with Rockaway Youth Task Force,
we get kicked off.
We wasn't going to get a contract. They wasn't going to sign it.
Yeah, we wasn't going to get a lease.
So my whole thing was the whole time they was hurting us. That was illegal.
Right.
Our rights were violated. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Right.
So this shit can be foiled. It's not like we making this
right.
up.
So just to be clear, we're not defamating or anything or saying things that wasn't true. Everything that we could say, everything that we've said. That's another reason why people don't challenge more catastrophic stuff that we haven't said. But getting back to these kids, listen. What makes you think because you got James Donovan and whoever else on your side that Parks is not going to take the garden from you eventually? Eventually.
Well, listen, I sat on the planning piece
because there's a lot of things coming down the pike that doesn't include the community, and you know that there's been several meetings that, and what's so funny is Chef was on the board of these certain
they was doing
initiatives.
They was doing some planning. I sat on some of these boards,
planning meetings. And
so
stuff.
the thing is this: we knew that they had plans to get rid of us a long time ago,
right?
But what's so funny, if you look at one of the listening sessions that they had,
yeah,
Parks actually, if you look at 58th Street,
and we got that proof too. So
there is on 58th Street, they was gonna make a nature trail. There was no farms there.
He wasn't
Rockaway Youth Task Force, or
he
us.
wasn't in the plans.
We wasn't even
either.
in the picture. So the thing was, we was told a long time ago. Again, they said the narrative was if you all can't get along, we're gonna get rid of both of you all. But the thing was that they didn't count. They read our spirits wrong. They just thought we were some old cats that, oh, you know what, we gonna pop off too. No, it's not that. We're gonna use common sense. Y'all
we
just
played
thought
chess,
we played. Y'all played checkers. We played chess. So y'all got tired of the game and flipped the board over because y'all was like, it's taking too long to get rid of them. So, like I said,
you flipped the board and slapped the board off the table and walked out. That's what you did.
Listen, just to let y'all know, there's a very good reason why we didn't sue just yet. There's a very good reason. But, like I said, we want, when it comes out, we want it to be big and nobody can hide.
Exactly.
We want, we want?
There's no paid judge for that.
We want the lights, we want y'all to be like when the lights come on and the roaches is in the middle of the floor, bro. Nobody can get away, bro.
Exactly.
Nobody can get away. This is my metaphor that I'm using.
Right.
And this will probably be, everybody. A lot of people know us, and I know that I usually don't. I try to be as professional as possible, but sometimes people that really know us, they know that what we say and what I say, but what me and my wife say behind closed doors is the same shit that we can say when we're not behind closed doors. We try to be professional, but the thing is that we sometimes, my mother and my dad used to always say, sometimes you got to stir the shit up. You got to stir the pot up. He said, and my dad used to say, if I don't show you that I'm angry, you'll think I'm all right with shit. Sometimes anger is something that you need to show people so that they can see, well, oh, wow, must have been something that we did, or we did do something, and, it's warranted. Not to be like, oh, it's, to say like they're crazy. That's very condescending. And that's like, oh, that's easy. That's why they act. No, you can't just say that. If you're smart, you're going to want to hear both sides of the story.
Mayor de Blasio.
And no, you mean William.
Oh, Mayor, what is it? Mayor
William Wilhelm?
Yes, Mayor Wilhelm.
Wilhelm, yeah.
Don't think we don't know.
That's like some. I hope that sounds like a little German over there, but I ain't gonna go there. William.
Yikes.
But anyway, like I said, You people, a lot of you
What a
all are
mistake
sheep.
not to hear us, bro.
A lot of you all are sheep.
You did it to yourself.
A lot of you all are sheep. And the thing is that
hard-headed and
the reason why Culinary Kids is not there is because we wouldn't sell out.
And we not gonna sell out.
And
there was no need to sell out. But look, look what's going on now. They'll sell out for what? 200 Gardens is gone. They don't care whether you political or not. Don't y'all understand that?
So that's why you should be, listen.
Rockaway Youth Task Force.
Be yourself. Be yourself. That's what you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to change. You're not supposed to change.
Then you want to sit there, then you want to sit there and try to have another intern try to find us on Facebook wanting to do an interview about interview with us. Bro, what is, like, there was nothing to talk about then and there ain't nothing to talk about now.
What you
thought? What you thought selling out you was going to get something? You're not going to get nothing messing around with these elected officials. Because I tell you one thing, these elected officials, and you know that, once they are told and get a phone call or a visit from a power broker, they will sit their ass down and they will leave your ass out there to face whatever the hell you're going to face by yourself.
And I'm
because they're controlled and they know that. So you better watch yourself in the circles that you run in. You sold out and it's for nothing.
Melania.
You sold out and it's for nothing. Because if that was the case, your ass would have been fixing up 58th Street already, but it's illegal anyway. And as far as that situation is concerned, that benefits us litigation-wise that they do give it to you.
Stop.
Right. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's beneficial. Let's say it's beneficial. Because why? That proves everything we said was true. And it is what it is.
Tortoise in the hair, bruh.
Exactly.
I will be the tortoise any day long.
All day
Y'all can be the hares, jump jack rabbits, jumping jack flash, running around. You know, all of that. Y'all can do that.
And who I feel bad for is the community because, you know, what threw people's off with us is the fact that there was no aesthetics. So because there was no aesthetics, we galvanized to another group that has funding.
Parks didn't want. It was a conspiracy. They all colluded. They all colluded together. My whole thing is that we showed you all the design plans on what that spot was supposed to look like. Parks intentionally.
You still liable.
They
Parks.
did not want to do it because
liable.
We wasn't
go around, come back around.
Listen, you can't put your fingers in us, man. We don't play that. We don't play that. We're gonna tell it like it is, not how it should be. And you know what though? Not for nothing. James too, he got this thing straight sellout. I know there was an issue one time with Rockaway Youth Task Force in Redfern. Some people was talking to me. They was telling me how, these cats are like, they not really for us.
No, they're not.
The whole thing is that, see, the difference between us.
20,000 tons of food. I got you in a few minutes with those pictures.
And not for nothing, Milan. That paperwork that you was sending around to organizations, trying to have them sign it. That's the same thing your daddy did. You remember? Remember when James had you all call a meeting to have all of the other non-for-profits in the Rockaway Peninsula? Remember you had that meeting? James was there in your office, and y'all called these groups to your office.
And them same groups told us what happened. That didn't want to
be a part of you all started the meeting off talking about let's get rid of Culinary Kids off the peninsula. People got up and walked up out of the meeting. My thing is this.
Like I said,
that's not even the thing. What is he? He uses Rockaway Youth Task Force as a tool. My thing is that, those groups got up and walked away from the table. And you all can't deny it because there was too many people that told us about it.
And those that did support us to get off the space, we know who you are. It ain't a lot of y'all, but we know who you are. And you're going to reap what you sow, which is why I said, see, God don't like ugly. Listen, funding is slow as a tortoise.
Not for nothing. I'm going to keep it.
God don't like ugly.
I'm gonna keep it 50. I ain't gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep this 150. I'm gonna keep this 150. I'm just not gonna call their name. There was an organization that we was dealing with, and what's so sad is that everybody,
y'all ain't slick.
Everybody, they stole some money. They stole some money now. Matter of fact, what's so sad is the proof was Dr. Yeah, we had problems with Dr. Ed Williams too, though. But you
And
know
he
what,
brought
though?
out the truth.
He did bring out the truth, and you know what, though? Real talk. After we had our
Shoot,
little,
after I saw the paperwork, I was
yeah,
like,
but wait,
damn.
wait. We had problems with Ed Williams in the beginning, but I'm gonna say this to you from our hearts.
What?
We cursed Ed Williams out, but I'm gonna say this to you. Ed
We made
Williams,
we got
we
cool though
we
after
got
that.
very
We got
cool
really
and
cool
close
after
with
that.
Ed Williams after
Yep.
that because he had no choice but to respect us, and we respected him. You
Yep.
understand what I'm saying to you?
Yep.
We respected Ed Williams because at least he came back and he
Apologized
apologized
as a man.
as a man.
As a black man.
He apologized to what he did. I'm not going to
Exactly.
go into what he did, but
But
just
to
to let you
apologize
just
and
to
it was
let you know
squashed.
it was squashed. But I'm going to say this to you: no matter what borough you go into, especially Manhattan, if you talk
Listen.
about us, there's people that is going to let us know because there's people that, even in Manhattan, as quiet as kept, there's people that love us.
I said, we still
But
got partners.
we still, yeah.
We doing,
Ed
as you
Williams,
see, we doing
again,
different things.
we got a lot of love for Ed Williams though, because out of everything that we went through with Ed Williams,
it.
he was the only one that came back. He knew he was wrong what he did, and he apologized. So we got love for Ed Williams.
Exactly.
But Ed Williams showed us some paperwork showing that there was a group that stole some money out there, man.
And it's still dealing with unsavory individuals.
Yeah.
And even with, and you know what's so funny though, and I'm not gonna say who it is. It doesn't make a difference because the Lord will reveal it in due season. Y'all, you did all of that to do the things that you're doing out there, and it's still stagnant. And
that's kind of why me and my wife.
You can't see that selling out don't work and stealing money from the community don't work. You don't
I'm gonna
understand
say this to
that?
you. That's why me and my wife was very careful with who we dealt with.
That's
it wasn't territorial. It wasn't that we was territorial. It was just
watching everybody that
it was
come
just
because
that
we knew that spies was around.
not
us.
only not there was white folks that was doing shit they wasn't supposed to be doing, and it definitely was black folks that was doing shit they wasn't supposed. So our thing was to protect.
Stupid.
We wanted to protect ourselves. It was never territorial. Anybody that knows us, we helped our community. We grew fruits and vegetables, and we gave food,
and the Lord got them out of there
for free.
Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it.
You know what I'm saying? So not for nothing. Like I said, even with Hurricane Sandy, there's a lot of people that are not aware of some of the things that we did for Hurricane Sandy. But guess what? Our community, the people that was in our community, knew that as soon as the rain came down, we was on the go. Supplying electricity. Well, just to let y'all know, we had electricity the whole time during Hurricane Sandy. And not only that, we supplied electricity to various apartments. We provided nebulizers, electricity. We gave people
being the first on the ground.
We gave people.
Yes, I said it.
We gave people the opportunity to come and charge their phones, computers, and all of that. And just to let you know, we started the first by the school. What was that guy's name? The light skinned principal. We started
MS-53, the former president, the former principal of MS-53. But to get back on the disaster,
with the disaster relief, we were the first on the ground, and we had MS-53 right there, and we did our all over the peninsula. Long as our community knows, and that was the most important thing. There's a lot of people that took credit for a lot of the stuff that we did.
I'm glad that chef brought that up. Being that we were the first on the ground when Hurricane Sandy hit, message to the community: the disaster management relief program that was extremely successful through Culinary Kids and the partners that we acquired during that catastrophic time in the Rockaways. That disaster management relief is not there anymore. Yes, there is disaster management plans in place because by law, every district has a disaster management relief plan in place. However, as intrinsic as it was in the communities of color, it's not there. Why? Because we couldn't be there to help like we did before.
Listen, I got one even better now. Just to let you all know. When Obama gave his State of the Union address, when he was talking about climate change, he was actually answering Chef Rivera's questions because she went to Washington D.C. She was supposed to meet with him. She
I'm
couldn't
pretty
meet
sure
with
that
him.
was politics.
Couldn't
That I
meet with
couldn't
him
meet him,
because of his
or the rest of the
schedule.
other
But
people
what?
couldn't meet him.
Right, there was other people there, but what happened was they recorded her questions that she
And
had
he
for
answered me.
Obama,
He answered
and he
me. That I
answered it
can't front.
in his State of the Union speech.
Right.
So that was the highlight of Culinary Kids, of what we were doing. So like I
Right.
said, there was a lot of people, you know. I think you listen, not for nothing, there were rogues in Occupy Sandy. Occupy Sandy, Shlomo Roth was one of the realest cats to a large degree. Um, Milan Taylor gave him grief and gave the whole Occupy movement grief just because Shlomo asked him for receipts and he gave them money. Matter of fact, what was it? How much he gave him?
$20,000.
And you know why we know that he gave him $20,000? Because when they gave us our check, Shlomo Roth he showed us the check that he was going to give Rockaway Youth Task Force.
And all he wanted was
And all he wanted was receipts. So because they didn't want to give him receipts, what they do? Oh, they're coming in our community and that shit.
Pulled the race card.
And everything. But these are the cats that you're dealing with. Now look, it might be. I'm not talking about the other.
What happened to that $20K?
Yeah, what happened to the receipts though? But okay, nevertheless. But these are the people that you got in your community. That's why we moved different from everybody else, because we saw the so-called people. Yeah, we saw the bullshit. And you know what? A lot of people might be upset, like, I've never heard the chefs talk like that. And this is nothing. This is mild. But I'm trying to explain to you what's going on.
Not only land usage politics, but politics in general that's affecting your tax dollars. These are tax dollars that are being used and people are fucking around with, especially on the east end of the Rockaways, which is why there is no progressive. There's nothing progressive going on the east end of the Rockaways. I talk to people, multi-million-dollar agencies in the east end all the time, as quiet as it's kept. Ain't nothing going on, bro. Everything is slow as molasses because people don't trust these elected officials. That's what y'all don't know.
Listen,
you keep putting them there, but it's because of these elected officials that are out there that there is no progressiveness in your community. So therefore, there is no work.
Listen,
everybody's, is getting tighter and tighter. And the fact that I gotta say this, Chef. Going back to the food movement. By us not being there, it's affected the community. But the fact that 200 gardens are not there, that's affecting communities around the city. So the famine is coming. And like I said, our disaster relief program is not there. All I can say to you guys out there in the east end of the Rockaways, you have to prepare for the worst because it's coming. You have to prepare.
Listen, you better get you some survival kits. You better get anybody. And
this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is not a conspiracy theory. 200 gardens. This is very crucial. 200 gardens is not in their communities anymore. 2 of our farms are not there anymore, guys. You understand what I'm saying to you? Lord knows what's going to happen to the 353. Yeah, they'll sign a contract and shuck and jive with the community gardens, so they think. But there's no guarantee. You might get a lease for 5 years or whatever you're going to get it for. There's no guarantee you can get another lease, no matter how political you are, because there's an agenda to starve communities out, especially communities of color.
Yeah.
Okay? So what you need to do, because certain agencies or groups are not in your communities, especially in the Rockaways, you cannot count on these agencies that are out there to a large degree because they're being slowed down financially. I'm being clear on that. And I speak to agencies all the time. What you need to do is get a closet or a basement or shed or whatever you can get your hands on, ladies and gentlemen, especially on the east end of the Rockaways and the 5 boroughs of New York City and even across the country. Whoever's listening, you better stock some water. You better stock non-perishable items. You better stock on medical supplies. Even if one person hears us and does what we ask them to do, and the community gardeners and the urban farms that are remaining, I commend you, number 1. Number 2, you need to put in your governance or your bylaws a disaster management relief clause or project or something where you have something in place in the time of disaster because it's coming.
Listen, you got to hold your elected officials' feet to
Trust
the
me, you
fire.
know that for a fact.
You have to hold these people's feet to the fire. I'm gonna say this to you. Somebody was telling me a lot of people when we told them about what was going on, it's not just the politicians, it's some of these organizations that are in our community that have to be looked at. And you have to really look at them with a fine microscope. Now, I'm gonna say this without question. What's the on Central?
Which agency?
The one on Central.
Oh, JCCRP?
No, they're not JCCRP. They're good as an organization. The other children's other organization.
There's tons of organizations.
Which Tyrone used to
what's the name of that?
Wow. So sad.
What's that agency? Oh,
I guess it's our age catching up with us, right? But no.
I forgot the agency. But we cool with them though.
No, listen, that's so sad, and I know we're gonna get a backlash for that one though. But JCCRP definitely. Oh my God! Wow. Maybe we should have had a script for this or something. But this is off the fly with everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And we were and listen, they gave us our children, and they dealt with us. We were very careful with certain organizations. That's why
a lot of things. I'm gonna say this though, Chef.
Hold on. I'm sorry. There were a lot of organizations that we saw things, and the community didn't even know what was going on with these organizations. We watched, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll give you a perfect example of an organization that was no good. Do you remember the Action Center? Man, listen. I don't want this. This is the problem that we had. There were people. That's why we did, because people were saying, "Well, Chef, why why you don't want to deal with the Action Center? What's going on with them and this, that, and the other, and all this stuff." It was a lot of stuff that we kept to ourselves. But what's so sad is that the community didn't know. After Hurricane Sandy, not for nothing, old girl was, in the mayor and doing all that stuff. I'm not mad at none of that. You know what I was mad at? When I found out that after everything was said and done, what's her name? Area Doe. I know she died, and rest in peace, without question. But the thing is that the people that was working for her
went through a lot.
They went through a lot because she was signing checks and putting it in their name. The FBI had to come there and keep the workers locked up in the rooms for hours and had them signing their names on a piece of paper because there was money that was being stolen, and she signed the names that the people that worked for her, she signed these checks in their names. So my whole thing is, I said that for a reason. I said that because there was a lot of people in the community that did not know about this. My thing is that you're telling me that nobody in the community wanted to. There's people that knew about it, but the thing was they didn't want the community to know.
And my whole thing is this: when something like that, when something like that happens, and people, you got to know about these things. This is your tax. Like I said, this is taxpayer money that's being fucked with. These are people out in the Rockaway community that pay their taxes faithfully, that pay their bills faithfully. They're the ones that's being affected more than anybody. And there's agencies and groups that are messing not only with your money, but messing around with land and messing around with resources and being selfish with resources and cutting each other's throat over resources. We were victimized by that. You understand what I'm saying to you?
And you were victimized by that because we've represented you.
Right.
We represent you as a community.
Right.
So if they victimize us, they're victimizing you all.
That's why I said you better get ready and you better have some disaster relief solutions in your home. This is very serious. Now you got to understand something. New York City is under a crisis right now. Okay, You have the Eric Garner decision, okay? That's causing a lot of friction. Then you got the Chinese dealing with what
Listen,
they dealing with. Hold on,
William.
let me finish. You got the Chinese dealing with what they dealing with in Hong Kong. There's different segments of New York life that's just about had it with the way things are being done and the way things are being run. You understand what I'm saying to you? And eventually it's going to come to an insurrection.
It's going to come to a very big, let's say, climax.
Climax, insurrection, whatever you want to call it. This is where we are at. And the fact that there's the 200 gardens that are not there anymore in the network, that makes it even worse. Because people, y'all not angling. If the supermarkets run out of food, right? And the bodegas run out of food, and another thing too, you gotta see too, if once it gets out of control.
Yeah, you're going to go to James's office and use his food replicator. I know.
The bodegas and the supermarkets and anybody serving food is going to shut down because they're going to protect their interests while everybody flips the fuck out. So now the community gardens, there's going to be minimal community gardens and there's going to be minimal food available. Now, the thing with the Rockaway Task Force for Yasso, when they taking 58th Street, their intention is to do it for community gardeners and community gardeners to have their food. Okay, but what about the rest of the community in time of crisis? What you think, they not going to climb that fence and get food?
Listen to me, man. I'm going to say this to you.
That's what you think.
Everybody's sitting there talking. Listen, let me tell you something.
I'm not angling. It's just about greed.
Every single community guard, the majority of his community gardeners, even though we didn't have the aesthetics that we were supposed to have, his community gardeners, that we worked hard for, his gardeners wanted to come over there and they didn't want to be a part of his thing no more.
You know how many community gardeners he had begged us to be community gardeners?
And the thing was that, listen, not for nothing.
Don't act like the way he did.
No, but the thing is that people understand and recognize genuine, real people, man. Real people. There's a difference between real people and people that bullshit you. You understand what I'm saying to you? People understand that. But sometimes, believe it or not, it seems like there's people that want to be bullshitted. They want you to bullshit them. Because that's all they've had all their life, and that's all they know. Exactly. So they want you, they're comfortable with being bullshitted. The thing is that we are who we are. We've always been like that. What you see on the outside is what you get. You understand what I'm saying to you? We're professional. We can be professional, but we can be that other part too. And the thing is that that was the problem. That was what we were told, that there were people in the hood that he didn't really want to deal with. That unsavory part of the hood, so to speak. But the thing is that if you're going to do something in your community, you cannot just go out and, if you're going to do something in your community, you just can't go out there and say, well, I'm going to help only a certain segment of the community and not the whole community. Right. Because, I can't deal with people's attitudes and what. But the thing is that, listen, then don't get into that work. Do not get into that type of work. If you can't deal with it, do not get into that type of work. And what you need to do is just, find. All you have to do is find something else to do. If you can't honestly say that you want to do something from your heart and not for money. For years, we've done what we've done. And the thing is that there's no money. We didn't do this. We did not do this to get into it for money. We did this for a reason. And the reason that we did this is because we felt an obligation to excuse me. We felt an obligation that it was needed. Not for nothing, 13 years we did what we did. For 13 years we did what we did. For a portion of that, we began on 31st Street. Then after 31st Street, we did it on 58th Street, a much bigger space. There was elements and people that didn't want us to do that. The thing was to do green job training. and to give jobs to people in the community. They didn't want us to do that. So the whole narrative was to slow us down. For 13 years we did it. We never made money. But it wasn't about making money. It was about helping a community. That was it. We never cried. We never beefed. And again, like I said, people painted this broad stroke that, oh, they're all about money. And, oh, listen, you need to check their bank accounts and see who's giving them money. Listen, ain't nobody was giving us money. Anything to deter from the truth. Anything to deter from the truth. So the thing is that you were not telling the truth, and your whole thing was let me explain to you all what it is. The truth wasn't in them. They didn't want to see us do what we was doing. Economic development was not on the table.
Not for a community.
Of color out there. The whole thing is, think about what I'm saying to you. Where's his track record? Where were the jobs? He was the councilman. He's the senator. I heard James Sanders say one time in a meeting. After the meeting, he told us, I've mastered the city council. Now it's time for me to master the Senate. We was looking at this old coon like, yo, you know what? Kanye West and James Sanders got something strikingly together because they're both cut from the same cloth. They just coons, man. And the thing is that we don't need this. Our community needs economic development. He was what economic development? What has he done?
Shelters and housing.
Listen, man. No, I'm talking about what major job creation. We put something on the table for this dude, man. Listen, we put something I'm gonna share this with y'all. We put something on the table that was so fantastic. 32nd Street, all the way up to that school, 32nd, 33rd, 34th Street. Is that 34th Street?
Yeah.
All the way to that school, from 32nd Street to 34th Street. Mm-hmm. We was gonna do a farm right by the ocean, a big farm right by the ocean. Glad we didn't do that, because Sandy would have wiped that out. Yep. But anyway, nevertheless, we were in talks with James Sanders. You know what? You know why we chose not to do that? We chose not to do that because James Sanders, the first thing he suggested was build RDRC, a building on the site. We told that nigga hell no. We told him hell no. But this is what we're dealing with. He wants to put them in power and a position to do economic development. But the thing was that, no, not even that. How are you going to do something? Now you came up with an idea, but you're going to use a bigger organization and put them on our space to do our idea.
And what happens to us?
Listen to me, man. This is our idea. This is what we wanted to run with. This is what we wanted to do. We wanted to hire people in the community and train. Yeah. And job train. Right. He said it was a beautiful idea. He sat down and picked my brain about fish farming and all that. Details about that. And so he understood that I knew about that. So my thing was that it was a beautiful plan. He was going to do something major. But the thing was that he didn't want to do it in a way that would be conducive to the community. Not for nothing, I wouldn't let RDRC, I wouldn't let Kevin Alexander, I wouldn't let him walk my dog. You understand me? I have heard so many stories about him, and there's so many people in the community that attest to it.
So it can't be the whole community.
It can't be listen, man, it can't be the whole community lying on this guy. It can't be, and not for nothing. What does RDRC stand for again? Revitalization, right?
Rockaway Development Revitalization Corporation, but what was revitalized?
Yeah, but besides that little park in between the thing over there, how many years y'all been out there? Why haven't y'all been doing any buildings? And why haven't you all
buildings? But what happened?
No, I'm saying why? No,
the buildings that they have. Nothing's going on in those buildings.
Those two buildings by the subway station.
Going on in those buildings.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that before those buildings, what happened?
That's a good question. You got to ask him.
No, no, but I'm asking. Listen. We're talking about this.
I know. I'll be
My point that no, I know, but my point that I'm trying to make to the community is that all of these years y'all been doing this. Why haven't you been building buildings and making sure that the people that are in the community can make sure that they can self-sustain themselves? I don't know what you're into right now, but I'm asking the question: how old is your organization?
Like 40 years old, bro.
My whole thing, and as I understand, your sister was running it at one time, but I ain't gonna go there. But I'm just saying, when you took over the reins, what happened? And I know about all that too, but I ain't gonna go. I'm not gonna even deal with that. I'm not gonna even talk about that. But my thing is that you all have been scooching your asses on the ground like a dog when he finish and he ain't got no paper. What he do is he holds his hind legs up and just scooches his butt across the ground to wipe it. That's what y'all been doing, man. Y'all have not been doing any real, listen, job development. I got so many complaints. I got so many complaints from parents about y'all, for summer youth and all of that, man. That's why you all was contacting us and you wanted us to take some of your... Listen.
Nope.
It wasn't even about it's about helping the community. But sometimes you have to tell people no. You have to say no. I wouldn't lay my dog because it would fleas. I'm not going to even say fleas. It'd probably catch something that's even worse than fleas. I don't deal with you all because y'all are not right. And I can, my history with people are saying, well, Dad, why they don't go so hard on RDRC? Listen to me, man. Yo, all I'm gonna say is if y'all really want to hear the story, listen, hit us up, leave us a comment in the section box. If you really want to know the real, leave a comment in the section box, and I'll tell you, and we'll talk about it. We'll maybe on the next show or something like that. Right. We'll talk about it. I'm gonna leave you with this. All I'm gonna say is this: Deneen Ferguson. Kevin Alexander. I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay? Yeah. That's so, she's not talking about marijuana or cannabis sativa. She said weed and seed. That was an organization that was ran by Kevin Alexander, but he told us he didn't know. We have nothing to do with that. Yeah, but it's all good. If y'all want to know, that I'm leaving y'all with that. Inbox us. I am us. Because see over here, we never scared. We ain't scared over here. We do what we do, and the thing is that we have some really beautiful ideas, and it was people in a beautiful history. I can't deny that. And we're still we have a lot of people in the community that support us. My thing is that I'd rather be supported by people that some people would deem unsavory. The people that understand. Yeah, but no, I'm just saying listen. The thing is that we have people in the Rockaways that can't go to certain sections of the Rockaways. Right. Young and older folks that say that. Right. But as chefs, all of the things that we have done, we can go to any project, any place in the Rockaways, and we get love. Right. The thing is that some of these groups didn't want to deal with, they're too professional to deal with the so-called unsavory people that live in our community. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that I don't deem them as unsavory. Right. I deem them as people that are aware mm-hmm. of their surroundings to a degree, but there's some that are not aware of their surroundings. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right. I mean, some people would say, oh, there's something wrong with that. But you don't know about their lives. You don't know what they've done or what they've been through in their lives, that they're at a point that their mental might be stagnant or not on your level, but that's none the reason to treat them or to be dismissive. That's the most disrespectful shit in the world, man. When you want to be dismissive with people and then be like, you even call them crazy. That's real dismissive. Or they're something's wrong with them. Well, can you elaborate? I don't want to get into it. Listen, when a person can't tell you or speak another person's name and they did something to them, I would not trust their asses.
Right.
All of that. Oh, though the said group and all of this. Come on, man. If somebody that's like a rapist rape you and you know who raped you. Instead of you saying, oh, it was Chef Moses, he raped me. Instead of saying that, you're going to say, oh, it was the unsavory one. Well, okay, who's the unsavory one? Oh, the unsavory one. Come on, man. That in the court of law, that don't rock. They need proof. They want a name. But I don't. It's meaningless to say their name. That's how you know when people are bullshitting.
Yeah.
And they're full of it.
Yeah.
Listen, people that know us, we call names. We say what it is. Not to start confusion.
Right.
But if you're going to sit there and say something about us that's not true.
Right.
True to form.
Right.
We going to correct you on it.
Right.
And then we going to call you out on it.
Yep.
But like I said, everybody thought we were just these ghetto trolls and that we don't have no control over ourselves. And, that's just what it is. But nevertheless, I'm going to let my gorgeous, darling, beautiful wife step in and give her a little piece. And, of course, depending on what happens, I'm going to come in and give my little 2 cents in too, though. But I'm going to give it to my darling wife, Chef Rivera.
So in retrospect, we're going to end on that note. I just feel bad that the communities of New York City is going through what they're going through, and it's getting worse and worse, like was predicted by some of the colleagues that we spoke to behind closed doors. Everything that we were told privately about 2 years ago is coming to pass, and it's not good. And it doesn't matter how politically you are or whatever, or how much money you've gotten from the city, whatever. It really is not going to mean anything in the end.
Oh,
it's not going to mean nothing in the end, and that's where we're going. That's
we want to thank ex-mayor Bloomberg for that
for a lot of help,
for a lot of help and a lot of steering us in a certain way to go with certain things.
Right.
Big up the ex-mayor Bloomberg. I wish you were here
for another 4 years.
So that maybe you should be running for president. Yo, this De Blasio, William, if he run, he can't run for president. You fired that guy? That was it? Listen, I heard that it was an illegal chokehold, but then people were saying that it was going to be hard to try to press this police officer because it was an illegal chokehold. My whole thing is, what's the first word? It was illegal. It was an illegal chokehold.
But that's why there's a lot of friction.
And you tried to blame his health. That's why he died. Listen, when y'all say stuff like that, believe it or not, there's black folks that understand. Listen, man, there's a lot of black folks that are not stupid, man. You can't just say certain things, man. And you as the mayor, all you did was fire that guy.
Which is why there's a lot of friction in New York City. There's why there's a lot of friction in the Asian community. Like we said before, it's going to bring insurrection, and you have to prepare yourself. Because there's no food. When there's no food, it's a wrap, and that's where we're going. It's not gonna matter if you took $2 million from a government contract. If you ain't got no food, it doesn't make a difference if you're politically tied to so and so and so and so. Everybody's gonna feel the impact of that. That's the route that we're going. But you'll see that in a few, though.
William, you should not run for president.
Well,
You're
that's
not
too
qualified.
Late, he's doing it.
Whatever. You're not qualified to run for president, right? Now, the whole thing is that you got to know your lane, bro. You're not qualified to run for president. What you did in New York is, it's heinous. It's heinous, bro. And not
now
for nothing,
people are about to starve out here, bro, for real.
I'm just saying, I heard about some, what was that, $6 billion?
No, $1.7 billion.
$1.7 billion disappeared.
And then, you know what's so funny? And that's public record, too.
The council,
then the speaker of the house of the council of the city, when they were asked that question by the media, they didn't know what was going on. How do you not know? That's the same thing with the $20 million that disappeared out of DOE and for travel expenses. How extensive was the traveling that nobody knows where $20 million is?
Listen to me, man.
And then and I hate to say this, when the mayors ask certain questions, he don't know what's going on.
He didn't know nothing. He didn't. If you look at his track record,
you want to be
when he's asked, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. Listen, man.
That's ridiculous.
You're a clown. You're a clown like James. So with that, I just want to say one more thing. You are not only are you a clown. Anybody that votes for you to be president,
that's a waste of time because you're not going to be.
It's a waste of time. And just to let you know,
that's a waste of a vote.
I'm telling you, I know for a fact because of what we've been told, you're not gonna be president.
And you know that though.
You gotta know
that though.
You gotta know you're not gonna be president.
But you doing what you doing, you hustling the way you hustling. But nevertheless,
hustling backwards, hustle hard. You're hustling hard backwards, bro. But like with that being said, listen. We are those people, and it's going to be a lot more professional because I know there's people that's like, oh, they said certain things, but get over it. Get over it. We've been through a lot, and the thing is that we have to express ourselves. And our next podcast, we're going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more beautiful.
Now, the next podcast, we may, like Chef said in the beginning of the podcast, that we may do some other stuff on what we went through.
That's why it's called Green Talk. Right. Green Talk Live and more.
You can inbox us. You can email us at greentalklive@gmail.com or even culinarykidcs@yahoo.com. That still works.
Shout out to Rockaway, the real Rockaway Prime Time. And also if you need to message us or anything like that, also check out Rockaway, the real Rockaway Prime Time.
With Wayne Oken as editor.
Wayne Oken is editor.
And the Ghost Reporters. Y'all know who y'all is.
Yikes. Big up to Wayne.
Yep. So
Wayne Oken.
Right,
but listen, and Wayne, we promise you, we're gonna be a lot more professional. Okay. We just had to get this. We had to get this off our chest, and we had to say certain things in a certain way.
Right.
But we'll. Don't worry, we'll be good.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So we're gonna end on this note. Like I said, all of y'all co-conspirators, it was the worst mistake that you've made, coming at us the way you did, and you're gonna reap what you sow. Every last one of y'all.
You're of dubious distinction.
Every last one of you, and we know that for a fact. Everything that we were told is coming to pass, and we're glad because it has to happen. I'm just unfortunate that the community has to suffer at the hands of elected officials that don't give a damn, but they gonna reap what they sow for what they did to the community, especially the Rockaway community too, especially what the mayor has done. Even the governor, I hate to say that once supported us, but then fell through the cracks, didn't want to support us anymore, and all of y'all let that happen. And for what? It's not gonna be beneficial to anybody. Everybody's gonna reap what they sow, and for what?
Now, the meaning of democracy, the word Democrat comes from democracy. That means governing body of demons.
And we're going to leave it at that. But the next podcast is going to be next week at 8 o'clock. Well, anyway, there's more stuff coming about all that stuff, that movement anyway. And we're going to leave it alone. But the next podcast is going to be about the waters and the impact of unclean waters in the world and how that's growing exponentially and fresh water is becoming even more scarce. So that's going to be our next podcast.
On a more professional note.
Right. And that'll be a 1-hour show. And also, we're going to have sweepstakes from time to time, giveaways from time to time, a lot more fun things to do during the hour. And you just check us out. So if you need anything, if you want to know anything, you email us at the emails that we provided. You can IM us.
Rockaway Prime,
and also Rockaway Prime Time reporting. You could contact them as well. So we're out, and this is Green Talk Live and more with the chefs. This is our 7th show, and we're gonna keep going. Stay strong, y'all.